Hey, we are talking about section 1.4, adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. So, the key whenever you're adding or subtracting fractions with unlike denominators is to get a like denominator, or what they like to call a common denominator. That's what you need. That's the key to adding and subtracting denominator. Whenever you're adding or subtracting, that's what you need, a common denominator. Okay, so just know that whenever you're dealing with fractions, there's different rules. Like when we multiply fractions, we can cross cancel and then multiply across. When we divide fractions, dividing fractions is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So then we kind of do that, and then we just turn it into a multiplication problem, and then we cross cancel and multiply across. But whenever we're adding or subtracting fractions, they have a different set of rules. So we have to make sure that we don't get the rules confused. So we have to get a common denominator. Well, how do you get a common denominator? Well, here we got 1/8 plus 2/7. They don't have a common denominator. This is an 8 and this is a 7. They are not the same, and we need them to be the same. So how you get a common denominator, it's really like the least common multiple between the two, the LCM, the least common multiple. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 8 and we're going to count by 8s. 8, 16, 24, 32, oh gosh, 40, 48, 56, oh gosh, what comes after that? 56, and then 64. Okay, that's good. And then let's count by 7s. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, and then what comes after 56? 63. Yes, 63. All right. So the least common multiple, so these are multiples of 8, and these are multiples of 7. What we're looking for is what is the one that they have in common, right? And what I see is that 8 has a 56 and 7 has a 56. And that's the least one they have in common. It's the smallest one. Okay? So that's what we want this number on bottom to be. We want it to be 56. Well, okay, we can do this. I'm going to rewrite it because I need a little extra room. So how do I make an 8 a 56? Well, I know that 8 times 7 is 56. So I'm going to have to multiply this bottom by 7, right? 7 times 8 is going to give me 56, and I need it to be 56. Now, with fractions, whenever you do something to the bottom, you've got to do it to the top too. So if I multiply the denominator, the bottom part of the fraction, I need to multiply the numerator, or the top part of the fraction, by 7 as well, because I can totally do that. Because what is 7 divided by 7? Oh, you can't even see that. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. 7 divided by 7 is just the same thing as 1. And I can multiply 1 by anything, and it's that same thing. Like, look, if I go 1 times 4, what's the answer? Oh, shoot, 4. If I go 1 times 3, what's the answer? 3. If I go 1 times 20, what's the answer? 20. If I go 1 times 100, what's the answer? 100. 1 times anything is anything, okay? And 1 can be written in a lot of different forms. 7 divided by 7, that doesn't really look like the number 1, but it is the number 1 because 7 divided by 7 is 1, and all I'm doing is going 1 times 1/8. So, which is still going to be 1/8. It's just going to be a different form. It's going to be an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of 56, which is what I need to be able to add these fractions together. I need them to have a common denominator. So here we go. 7 times 1 is 7, and 7 times 8 is 56. And 7/56 is the same thing as 1/8. These are equivalent fractions. They are the same thing. They just look a little different, but they're the same. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for 2/7. I need this bottom to be a, what do I need it to be? 56. So 7 times what is 56? Well, 7 times 8. And whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do it to the top because, again, 8 divided by 8 is the same thing as 1. And 1 times 2/7 is just going to be 2/7 in a different form. So I'm going to drop this plus sign, and then we just need to do the multiplication. 2 times 8 is 16 over 7 times 8 is 56. Awesome. And now 2/7 is the same thing as 1656. It's just kind of written, they're equivalent fractions, it's just in a different form. Okay, so now that we have a common denominator of 56, what we can do is we can add these fractions together. We are going to keep the 56 on the bottom and just add the top. So 7 plus 16, that would be 23. 23. And there we go. The only thing we're going to do is look to see if we can simplify this. Put it into simplified form, or lowest terms. 23, I know that 23 is a prime number. And so my only thought, can 23 go into 56? And 23 plus 23 is 46. So I know that it can't go to 56. So this is the answer, 23 over 56. Cool. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Ooh, this one's fun. Okay, now we're subtracting, and we have mixed numbers here. So you can add and subtract with mixed numbers with keeping them mixed numbers, but I think just to make things easy, what we're going to do is we're going to take these mixed numbers and we're going to convert them to improper fractions. I think sometimes it's easier just to deal with the improper fractions. So let's go ahead and do that. To do that, remember, we're just going to go 6 times 1, which is 6, and add the 1, which would make it 7 6. So we got 7 6 minus 8 times 1 is 8 plus 5 is 13 eighths. Okay, here we go. Now we're subtracting. But the rule is still the same. Whenever we are adding or subtracting, we need a common denominator. So we have 6 and 8. What's the common denominator going to be? Well, what we have to do is find the least common multiple of 6 and 8, which means if we count by 6s, and we go 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. What comes next? After 36, that would be 42, 48, right? And then we count by 8s. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. We want to pick the one that they, the least number that they have in common. Now, if I see here, I see that they have a couple in common. I see that they have 48, and I see that they have 24. Well, the one we want to pick is the least one. So we want to pick 24, okay? We want both of these to turn into 24. Okay, cool, no problem. How do I make this 6 into a 24? Well, I need to multiply it by 4. So whatever I multiply to the bottom, I got to multiply it to the top, because 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then what am I going to get? I'm going to get 4 times 7, which is 28, over 4 times 6, which is 24, minus, and then I need to make this 8 into a 24. So 8 times 3 is 24. Whatever I do to the bottom, I got to do to the top. Okay, there we go. So 13 times 3 is 39, over 8 times 3 is 24. And then here we go. I have my little problem. So we're just going to subtract these two. Notice that this is positive and this is negative. So these signs are different. So what that means is I'm going to take the difference of the two. Okay, I'm going to keep 24 on the bottom. That's a given. But I'm going to find the difference between 28 and 39. Okay, so I'm just going to go 38 minus 28. Did I say that? 38? I'm sorry. 39 minus 28. 9 minus 8 is 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, so the difference between these two numbers is 11. Now what I'm going to look at is which number's bigger. Is 28 bigger or 39 is bigger? And it's clearly that 39 is bigger. So is 39, is it positive or negative? And this right here means that 39 is negative. So that means that whatever our answer is also going to be negative. Okay, so there we go. We have our answer, negative 17 over 24. And oops, we need to make sure it's in simplest form. And 11 is a prime number. So the only numbers that go into 11 are 1 and 11. And 11 doesn't go into 24. So yes, it's in simplest form. All right, now it is your turn. So it's time to bring out our friend, the pause dragon, to remind you that you need to pause. Go ahead and do these two little problems. Check it out, example 1A and 1B. And then when you're done, go ahead and click play and we will go over the answers. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, we are back. We're gonna add 1/3 plus 5 over 8. And remember, whenever we're doing this, when we're adding or subtracting fractions, we need a common denominator. So to do that, we are going to find the least common multiple, or the LCM, between 3 and 8. And how we do that is just by counting by threes. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Are we off screen yet? Okay, almost. And then 8. Oh gosh, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. All right, let's look and see if they have any in common. What do you see? What do you see? What do you see? Okay, I see 24 and 24. I think that's the least one that they have in common. Sweet. So we need to make both of these into a 24. So 1/3 over 5/8. And how do we make a 3 into a 24? Well, we just multiply by 8 to the bottom and the top. And this is how I want you to show your work on your homework. So please just do it this way. And then 8 times 1 is 8 over 8 times 3 is 24. Okay, then we're going to go plus. And we need to make this 8 into a 24. How do we do that? Multiply it by 3 to the bottom and the top. We get 15 over 24. Okay, we're ready to add away. So we keep the common denominator, and then we just add the numbers on top. 8 plus 15, which is, what, 23? Check to see if it's in simplest form, and 23 is a prime number, so yes, sir. It is in simplest form. Put a box around it. We did it. Hopefully you did it right. If you have any questions, make sure you put a little note like, help, I need help, and then you come to class. And you can say, I need help because I don't understand, boomity boom, boom, boom. And then we will talk about that in class. But if you got it right, good job. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, we have a, what do we have here? We have a mixed number again. Let's go ahead and convert this to a improper fraction. So 6 times 2 plus the 1. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 would be 13 over 6, plus 3/4. Okay, now we just need to find the LCM between 4 and 6. So we're going to count by 4s. Let's do it together. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. All right, that was pretty cool. And count by 6s. 6, 12, 18, 24. Okay, what do you see? I see they have a 24 in common, and they also have a 12 in common, but we want the least one. So that is going to be our friend number 12. Okay, so we need to make each of these into 12. So 6, I need to times that by 2 to the bottom and the top. And the 4, I need to times by 3 to the bottom and the top. Okay, let's go ahead and do that multiplication. 2 times 13 is 26 over 12 plus 3 times 3 would be 9 over 4 times 3, which is 12. Sweet. We keep the common denominator of 12, and we just add 26 plus 9 on top. Okay, that is 35. All right, we have an improper fraction, ladies and gentlemen. So we need to convert that to a mixed number. How do we do that? Well, first, we see how many times 12 can go into 35. And I think it can go in twice, because 2 times 12 is 24. And then we just need to see, well, how many are left over? I'm going to do a real quick subtraction here. So 35 minus 24, we get 5 minus 4, which is 1, 3 minus 2, which is 1, and that means that our 11 are left over.